I'm Sean Thompson. I'm the nation's leading expert on mortgages featuring renovation financing. And this is the Renovation Rundown.
Hey, welcome everyone. So, Lee Smith, I got to tell you, I'll enter you a quick second and say, if there's a group of like super reno pros, and there ain't many of us left in the United States, I certainly put you up there, with the best. I'm happy that you came on and gave me a couple of minutes of your time. How you been, buddy?
I'm good, Sean. How you doing, man? I appreciate the intro and the welcome. Definitely appreciate that.
Well, listen, like the end of the first Lethal Weapon, where he goes, "There's no more heroes left in the world, son." Right? That's how I feel about the reno people. Right?
Right?
There's no more reno guys left in the world, son. I say that to myself every now and again. Like I think we're important that way. But nevertheless, I saw your post the other day, talking about realtors not really, and what you tried to explain was why realtors shy away from renovation lending, right? So I'll set the stage for this conversation because I really want to kind of go back and forth with you on this because I think we could help, right? And the challenge is, and the way I like to say it is, customers find renovation lending not because of the realtor and loan officer, but in 2024, in spite of the realtor and loan officer. And I almost get it, so I'm knee deep in how we find ways to create confidence with buyer agents and listing agents so that our customers don't end up buying homes with 3% down with the mint lime green kitchen of the future and the shag carpet just because their realtor wouldn't let them entertain the style of financing we're good at.
Right. No, that's a very good point. Yeah. Obviously being in the business and talking with realtors on a daily basis, I think one of the keys to get realtors to really understand the product through education of the products and, of course, what products are available to buyers in today's market, especially with the low inventory that we have, and how that can really help buyers as well as realtors look at transactions or look at listings a little differently than they would in the past.
Yeah, it's kind of, I had a realtor jump on. I was doing a realtor webinar as we do, right? And one of the agents during the Q&A at the end, got in. She was like the top dog in that group, right? She jumped out and said, "Hey, I use Reno all the time. You know how I use it?
Wow.
I don't want to have the competition, of dealing with 50 buyers every time that new house comes on or that house that doesn't need any work, gets listed. I tell my buyer, hey, let's go. We're not having success this way. Let's go find you an ugly kitchen. Let's go find you an ugly backyard where no one's competing on it. And I'm going to show you how to get this done like a Property Brothers episode, and everybody was just left stunned a minute as she described how she does business using Reno, like not all of her business, but she uses it to get over those hurdles when the customers just aren't finding what they want or there's too much competition on the good ones.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, yeah, I have a few realtors that really focus on it and they understand the product. And, when they're out there looking at these properties with the buyers, it's a great segue for them to go into the renovation product itself. Then there's a lot of advantages to the buyer on these types of programs. As you mentioned, they can roll in all this renovation cost into one mortgage with one down payment. It's rolled into a very low interest rate versus buying the house with let's say a non-reno loan, a traditional mortgage, and then going to Home Depot and, putting that cost on a 26% interest rate over time that you can't write off. So that's just one thought on how to look at financing these products, but it definitely can be very beneficial for the buyers to use a renovation loan.
And it's so strange to me that, you would think a realtor would want to put the buyer's needs first. And I think they're trying to. They just somehow have this stigma about renovation loans at the point of sale when rubber meets the road. So I'm curious, you being really good at what you do, how do you get buyer agents and listing agents to go, all right, I'm skeptical, but Lee, you talked me into it. I'll take this deal. How do you get them to do
Right.
that?
That's a very good question. I think just my experience when I get into the loan itself and how it works and how we approach the field piece, to provide some comfort and understanding of the product, and how we can close it on time, and how we approach getting contractor estimates and bids, how the appraisal works. So I think just using my experience and talking with confidence on the product, it helps reassure the agent and the buyer that, okay, we're teamed up with the right loan officer. We want the property, and it looks like a good program to use in our situation. So I think it's a combination of those things, Sean, to tell you the truth. And that's vital in regards to a successful renovation closing. Is the LO really needs to know what they're doing. And one of the things in our industry, as you're very well aware of, is that a lot of LOs who don't specialize in it, don't do these renovation loans too often, will take on a renovation loan, mess it up, and then it gets a bad reputation in the market. And
I think that
obviously,
adds
the
to the
agents
stigma,
want
to
to
your
stay
point.
away.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you said something in there I really, really liked. And folks, I really want you to kind of listen to this, right? Lee brought up confidence, right? And to me, I think that's where it is. The realtors, or the realtors you get introduced to as a result of having borrowers that are participating with them, sense and get a good feel for your confidence, that even though they've heard things about these type of loans, that they're with somebody who's confident enough and knows how to get through. I think that's the trick, right? Is today's LOs who, and I don't put you down for it, for trying a rental loan for the first time, because a deal's a deal's a deal, especially now, right? But the challenge is they go out with customers, and the realtor gives them just a slight bit of pushback, and then they go, okay, never mind, we don't need the rental, we can take it off, because the house doesn't need the work, they just
Correct.
want to do the work, right?
Correct.
So being confident is what I heard from you. Being able to explain the process confidently and let the realtor, hey, we're gonna close in the same amount of time, right? The customer just has to go out and get a contractor for the things that they want to do, and they don't have to live in this house where they spent all of their money, down payment money all of their savings on down payment and closing costs, and they don't have any money left over, to get, the mint lime green kitchen of the future and shag carpet replaced, right? And they have to go down to Home Depot and get the 26% credit card you were talking about, right? So we'd like to combine that all in. So I think doing it confidently is the trick here.
Yep. No, I totally agree. And I've been in the business obviously for some time now, and it's the field piece that will bring it together, with the consultant, the contractor bid package, and so forth. So there is a very process you go through to make it happen, so that you can bring this to closing successfully, and obtain that renovation money. And I just think that specialists who do it, and companies that have a department that are specialized towards renovation, definitely goes very far with the realtors that you're working with and the buyers. I think that's key. And there's a handful of companies out there that do that. You're aware of that as well. But I think that's the key to the process.
Well, good. Listen, I don't want to, beat people up with it. Lee, you're doing a fantastic job, carrying the torch, getting the message out. I think the rising tide will lift all boats, not to be cliche, as I was just very cliche.
Right.
But I think that we could do a really good job educating our realtors to get them to have a little bit more confidence, because customers need what we do now more than ever, right? This is probably the most
Yep.
opportunistic time for renovation financing I've ever seen. And I've been in this business quite a long time. So have you, right?
Yep.
So we need to connect the dots between what our potential buyers see on HGTV or those makeover shows with actually getting it done. And part of that means figuring out a way to go through the real estate community, and have them be a part of the transaction rather than a hindrance of.
Yep. And I think part of that is getting the word out, social media, things of that nature, and getting the word out about the programs, educating both the realtors and the buyers, I think will be probably the best approach to take to get the education out there. And one thing that I noticed, so I look back over the last couple of years on deals that we closed with renovation loans, and one of the things that stood out to me the most was the equity position in these properties once the repairs were completed is tremendous. So basically, the average was an 18% increase in the equity position on these properties, and that's not counting the down payment. So that's above the down payment amount of the equity they gained. So tremendous opportunity for buyers to get in a good equity position, especially like you mentioned in this market, inventory is low, and there are still great opportunities out there to capture. And one way to capture it is renovation loans.
Do you hear that, folks? What he simply said, and you're hearing from one of the masters out there. You can buy for X, get renovation for Y, and it be worth 18% more than what you're spending. All right, that's what he's talking about, is building equity for home ownership. You're putting down 3%, but after you're done with the reno, you have 20% equity in the property. That's a win-win for everybody. Lee, thanks for spending a little time with us. We appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep fighting a good fight, and I'll see you around. You look like you haven't aged a day, by the way.
Oh.
Not even a day.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks.